What's up, everybody? Matt Modak here. I got some NBA player props for you guys to hammer for tonight. We're talking Thursday, November 2nd, NBA betting slate. We only have 4 games on the docket, but I have 4 NBA player props for you guys to lock in. I have 3 plays that are going to be in the splash zone, which admittedly has been cold for me. If you are new to my YouTube channel, splash zone means I bet my favorite 3-point props, but instead of taking them at their main line, I pump up those numbers a little bit, try to get pretty juicy odds, basically trying to find who is going to be wet from deep. It started off really hot. We are in the midst of a crazy cold streak. I have one non-splash zone play as well. Before we get into today's picks, I do need to do a recap from yesterday. Another brutal 0-3 day on the splash zone. Now, I'm going to complain about how 2 of the 3 were bad beats, but they still go down as L's nonetheless. If you want a official recap on the individual plays and everything, go ahead, follow me on Twitter at my Twitter handle you see here at JediModai. Also, would appreciate it while you're here if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, and then also comment. In terms of my overall results, after another 0-3 day yesterday, that brings our total results now to a loss of we're down 2.85 units. We were up over 8 units the first 3 days, have just been getting smoked since. It's unfortunate. Not much you can do. You just got to keep your head down and keep grinding. So hopefully we can get out of this cold streak tonight. As I mentioned, I got 4 for you guys that we can get right into. So play number 1 is going to be our first and only non-splash zone play in the Raptors versus Sixers game. We're taking Embiid over 44.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is at -120 odds at DraftKings. So this game, my prediction here is that the Sixers are going to be super motivated that James Harden is no longer on the team. It's one of those things where the first game after a trade, the team plays significantly harder. So if you're looking at main lines, I like the Sixers to win and cover. Obviously, in this one, the Harden trade is over. It's all sunshine and rainbows in Philadelphia, at least in the short term. Of course, that's not going to last. But for this game specifically, you're going to see a super motivated Joel Embiid and a super motivated Sixers team. Again, I'm not saying that's going to last the entire year, but for one game, I am very confident in that. Embiid's also been awesome. He's been typical regular season Embiid. I'm not saying playoff Embiid because that's a different player. Regular season Embiid, he's been awesome. Game 1 against the Bucks, he had his typical Embiid game where he's always bad, always looks sluggish in the first game. But their last 2 games, he's been very, very good. One of those games does include these Raptors. So he missed this PRA in game 1. Games 2 and 3, he had 51 and 57 points, rebounds, assists, with the 51 number being against Toronto. And he also has a really good matchup against the starting center for the Raptors, Jakob Poeltl. He's a very good defender, but for players like Embiid who just have the sheer size, Poeltl just can't bang with him down low. The past 2 years, Embiid has faced off against the Jakob Poeltl team 4 times. He's gone over this number in 3 of those 4 games. 2 of them against the Spurs, 2 of them against the Raptors, obviously 1 including the game this year. In those 4 games, he's averaging 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. He's been much better as a passer the past 2 games this year. He also looks motivated to rebound more as well, and then the scoring is pretty obvious for him. So I think Embiid is going to continue to have a good game. I would play this number up to 46, 47.5. And if you want to get plus money, get 50 plus, you can do that as well. We're just tracking the 44.5 PRA. Now, next up, finally getting to the splash zone plays. As I mentioned, I have 3 for our first one. We're ready to get wet. We're taking Kelly Oubre. This is in the same game, Raptors Sixers. 3+ made 3-pointers, plus 270 odds at FanDuel. So this one for Oubre, we're essentially just fading recent events, right? Oubre was awesome in the Sixers' first game. They were down big at one point. He basically brought them back in the game. He shot 5 of 6 from 3-point range. Now, obviously, that was never going to keep up in terms of that type of success and that type of efficiency. And that immediately came crashing down. That immediately became true. The past 2 games, he has shot a combined 0 for 10 from deep, which is just funny. That's classic NBA, 5 from 6 one game, 0 for 10 the next 2. Well, it's time for the pendulum to swing back the other way. I think he's going to, once again, have a good shooting game. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to go 5 from 6, but if he goes 3 from 6 from deep, then we're good. And then with the Harden trade, Oubre is presumed announced by Nick Nurse that he's most likely going to be the starter tonight. And if none of the new guys play, or if they don't play a ton, the Sixers are going to have a relatively small rotation, which means a lot of minutes for someone like Kelly Oubre to eat up. And what we know about Kelly Oubre, Tsunami Papi, is that he is not shy to get his, and he is not shy to get shots up. But at least so far, it's only been 3 games. His defense has actually been pretty good for the Sixers. And that's probably the reason why he's staying on the floor despite not making a three-pointer the past 2 games. And I mentioned a couple times these two teams just played. Oubre put up 6 3-pointers in that game. He didn't make one, but with those attempts likely to honestly increase in this one, he should be able to get back. He should be able to get to 3, have a better shooting game, hopefully cashing plus 270 odds for us. Next up, in the Magic versus Jazz game, we're taking Franz Wagner, 4+ made 3-pointers, 4+ made. This is at plus 400 odds at FanDuel. So this is a number that Vagner has yet to hit this year, but he's essentially the only person on the Magic who is basically able to shoot 3-pointers. So he puts up a pretty decent number of attempts. He shoots a lot, and it makes sense. If you just look up and down the Magic roster, it's literally nobody who can shoot. Paolo's great. Paolo doesn't shoot. Fultz has turned himself into a very good NBA player. He doesn't shoot. Then you have Jalen Suggs, you have Wendell Carter, not great shooters at all. None of them shoot, which means a lot of shot attempts for Franz Wagner. He's averaging 7.5 3-point attempts per game. And what I like about this is he has put up at least 7 in every single game so far. And then 1 game he put up 9. That's in a 4-game sample size. So in those 4 games, he made at least 2. In 2 of them, the other 2, he made 3. So he is making shots. He's not completely cold from deep. It's not as though he's been horrible or even close to that. For this game specifically, the Magic are playing the Jazz. The Jazz give up a ton of 3-pointers. They give up 41 3-point attempts per game, which is the second most, tied for second most in the NBA. The Jazz are also on the second half of a back-to-back, so maybe they're going to be a little bit have somewhat tired legs. So I'm expecting Wagner to put up 4+ 3-pointers in this game. If he has a hot day, he will be cashing 4+ for us, plus 400 odds. The value's there. And then next up, our 4th pick, our 3rd splash zone pick, and our final pick of the evening, Kevin Durant, 3+ made 3-pointers, obviously in the Spurs versus Suns game. This is at plus 230 odds at FanDuel. Now, this year for the Suns, it's been a weird start for the Suns, and it's been a weird start for Kevin Durant. They haven't been horrible, and he hasn't been horrible. It's just been weird. Kevin Durant has yet to make more than 1 3-pointer in a game so far. Through 4 games, he's yet to make more than 1. And he hasn't been shooting all that much either. Now, obviously, with the small sample size, stats are always going to be wonky. But he's only averaging 3.5 3-point attempts per game. And in order, he's attempted 2, 5, 4, 3. That's the number he's attempted. And that last game where he only attempted 3 was against the Spurs, a team that they're playing tonight. But the reason why I like this one tonight, despite the fact that they just played and he only shot 1 of 3 from deep, is I just find it unlikely he's going to continue to shoot so infrequently, and especially against this Spurs team. The Spurs, I mentioned how the Jazz give up a ton of 3-pointers. So do the Spurs. The Spurs give up 40 3-point attempts per game. That is 4th most in the NBA. That is 1 spot behind the Jazz. So they give up a ton of 3-pointers. And then looking at the Suns, Booker's been in and out of the lineup. He played the first game, hasn't played since. He's questionable for tonight. Beal has not played yet, and he is once again out for tonight. For tonight. So because of that, and because the Suns don't have a ton of depth with all these trades, Kevin Durant's been playing in the high 30s in terms of minutes most of the games. Only 1 game he did not. He should continue to play that number of minutes tonight. They also, Suns blew the game against the Spurs last time, so they're probably going to come out a little more motivated than they were before. So I'm betting on him to not continue to shoot as infrequently as he has been, and then also have a good shooting game. If he does that, we will cash plus 230 for us. Rounding out our 4th and final pick of the evening. 4 plays for you guys to tail, 3 splash zone, 1 non-splash zone. If you're tailing, if you're fading, would love it if you could comment and let me know, even if it's negative. I love seeing and reading all the comments. Other than that, remember to like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.